in women's collegiate gymnastics, but they have got to get some of the scores that have been in the 9.7s and 9.8s to turn into 9.9s. Chloe is absolutely an athlete that could be a big part of that process. Alabama as the home team, they get to start on the vault and go Olympic order, as we call it, ending on floor exercise. LSU will start on the uneven bar. 6 gymnasts compete on each event for both of these teams. The top 5 scores count. That is big in women's gymnastics. You can drop the low, so if you have a mistake, you can drop that score. Those remaining 5 scores are added together on each event. Highest total is your team champion. Here we are with Shania Adams leading off for Alabama on vault.
Yurchenko layout full to get things started. That leadoff position really needs to have a controlled, if not a stuck landing, if they want this lineup to continue to build in terms of scoring.
And Alabama's got some good vaults, Sam, but the landings is where they really have got to clean it up, especially if they're going to hang with a team like LSU on vault. LSU stuck 4 vaults last week.
Yeah.
It was like a vault clinic. So,
but can they do it again? That's the goal for them, is they want to show up 2 weekends in a row.
now Lexi Zeiss, sensational freshman, former national team member for Team USA, also a member of a world championship team. She's a leadoff on the uneven bars for the Tigers.
I mean, I think it speaks volumes of what Jay Clark, head coach, thinks of Lexi Zeiss to start off their entire meet with her here on bars. Working on handstands all the way up. I love when I can see athletes hold that vertical handstand position. Working on that stuck landing. You see by her face, she was so close to sticking it.
And that's such a big part of women's gymnastics, the landings. You'll hear us talk about them over and over. Everyone watching knows what a stuck landing is, right? And that is a big part of the deductions that the judges will take. That one right there, she fought, took a hop, shoulders were down, the arms waving, so that opened herself up for some significant deductions. We will see what the judges do. Shania Adams, a 9.75 in the leadoff spot.
Yurchenko 1.5. This is a 10-0 start value vault. Wow. Head coach Ashley Johnston said she was ready for her breakout vault, and this was it. Look how strong this was. Bent arms on the table, but does a nice job spotting, opening her arms, knowing exactly where she is in the air to find that landing.
So in the world of steps and hops on landings, you can have a half-temp hop, you can have a 1/10 hop. What was that one in your quick opinion, Sam?
That was such a small hop, so half-tenth is what I would take. You can also take 1/10 for any clear step. But to me, that looked like the smallest amount of hop or movement forward, scoot, if you will.
A scoot. You're going to hear the word scoot a few times tonight. That looked like a scoot. German will definitely have a higher score than that 9.75. Again, top 5 scores for each team count, so they can drop a low score. LSU last week put up a 198, the second highest score by any team in the NCAA this year. That is a big-time score. You are not counting 9.7s if you're scoring a 198. Ashley Cowan will be the second gymnast go. Lexi Zeiss put up a 9.7 as well in that leadoff spot. So LSU in a similar spot as Alabama here to begin this rotation.
Ashley really has the ability to hit every single handstand, just like that. It's a quick routine. Straight back up to the high bar. Working all the way through. They're looking for the sticks to be contagious, and it's hopefully going to start with Ashley. I'd say LSU is a good team at continuing that stick momentum. I have seen them do that on multiple occasions this season.
And she gets the crown. Nice job from Ashley Cowan. Again, like Alabama, feels like that score will go up from that 9.75. German score a 9.85. That is a season high score for her. Now Corinne Benogin will be the third gymnast rather to go here for the Crimson Tide.
She'll be doing another Yurchenko 1.5, and I saw her warm up a really clean Yurchenko 1.5. Can she do it again here? Oh! She can. That's the momentum we're talking about. Alabama has not captured that yet this season. Maybe it's tonight. This is looking good. It's only the third ball in, but straight arms on the table. Little leg set separation, but did not move those feet.
We talked about it leading into the start of this rotation, how this is something that Alabama really needs to capitalize on. They have the 10-0 starts, but it doesn't help you if you're taking, 1 or 2 tenths in deductions on the landing so far. This is looking about as good as they can do it, or as good as they've looked all season. Ashley Cowan for LSU, a 9.9 in the second spot. And now Alexis Jeffrey.
She used to be in that leadoff spot, but they moved her back to see if she could increase her scoring potential. She has such a lightness about her swing that she really just pops up to that handstand position. And look how high this dismount goes, John. I saw her do a better one in warm-up. She has been improving on that every single week. It's going to be a deduction with how low she squatted on the landing, but she gets so high in the air.
That height is as high as you're going to see it. You'd have to go back to 2010 and Jackie Flannery from the Sooners to see one that high. That was a big-time dismount, but she's mad about that stuck landing.
Yeah, really close there.
Banagan a 9.925. Can the veteran, can Lily Hudson build on that? She's been perfect on this event in her career.
Another Yurchenko 1.5 in the Alabama lineup. A little too much juice, but it's cleaner in the air. It's their cleanest vault so far in the lineup. She gets nice pop off the table, legs glued together on the twist. So it still should be a good score for Alabama.
So Alabama rolling on the vault after that 9.75 start. 3 good scores after that. 2 yet to go for them. Alexis Jeffrey, a 9.8, got hammered on that dismount. A stuck landing there would have put her right at that 9.9 plus, like Ashley Cowan. Now, Kaylin Chio, she has been an absolute star as a freshman already here for the Tigers.
It's an athlete that coaches say really demands excellence from herself on every turn, and her biggest struggle is when she does make a little hiccup or a mistake, can she let it go? I saw her struggle a little bit on this bar dismount in warm-up, so this is going to be a good test for her right here. Remember, she's just a freshman, so competing week in, week out in the all-around, has no problem with the dismount when it comes time to the competition. That's the mark of a true athlete. Huge release move. It's called a Korkina or a Markelov. Then dismount, tuck full in. Look at her face. She's like, didn't move my feet. Did you see it?
Yep. That confident smile. No better feeling than gymnastics than doing a big dismount and sticking landing. I think you did it more than I did, though, Sam. Lily Hudson, a 9.875 for her vault. Very good score. Now Jordan Paradise, another senior to go.
An athlete that's really improved this year. Big 1.5, but equally as big of a step forward. That's going to be a pretty big deduction. Working on still controlling that landing, which is tough to do, especially when you have so much adrenaline from meets like this.
Yeah, probably at least a couple tenths on that landing. We saw Lily Hudson with that small hop. She gets a 9.875, so just put that in perspective. Jordan Paradise with a bigger step. Certainly expect the score to be lower than Hudson's score. Aaliyah Finnegan, Olympian Aaliyah Finnegan, represented the Philippines in Paris last summer. She has already been a star for this team, but early in the season with Haley Bryan out of the all-around, it feels like she's really kind of carried a little extra weight on her shoulders.
And she's learned new skills as well, and it's always impressive to me when senior athletes can come into season and learn some new skills. Hers is a dismount. She now does a full out instead of a blind landing, hoping that will increase her stick percentage.
Kaylin Chio, a 9.85 right before her.
Nice handstand. She does a huge release move right at the top of her routine. I like that hold position in the handstand. Head coach Jay Clark said, man, this team crushed bars this week, so he was particularly excited about this event right here. Looking for another stuck landing.
Oh,
Shy on that landing, step forward. Didn't quite get enough rotation to finish that around.
And that is a different dismount than she did last year, and usually one that she handles that landing really well. But that, unfortunately, is going to be a fairly significant deduction on what otherwise was a very clean routine. Jordan Paradise, a 9.7, so they are going to have to count that 9.75 from Shania Adams. Gabby Gladio now looking for a big number, certainly capable of it. She can get some big air.
She's had a breakout year with this Yurchenko, 1.5. Again, huge hop forward. That's going to be the difference maker for teams moving forward, especially when they're trying to qualify to SEC championships and, of course, the postseason.
Yeah, they had a couple of great landings there from German and Benogan, but then the hops started happening, in particular for Paradise and Gladio. So we'll see what the judges do with that last vault. Aaliyah Finnegan and 9.825 got hit on that landing. Just Connor McClain now. Sensational sophomore coming back from an Achilles injury she sustained as she made a run at the Olympic team last year, and that derailed her hopes. But here she is, a miraculous comeback, doing 2 events for the LSU Tigers, and she really, we talked about it in the warm-up, she kind of makes everybody else look a little bad because she's so clean and precise in her gymnastics.
Yeah, her form is just next level. You're going to notice it across the board. Every little detail. Her ankles are squeezed. She holds her handstands. Big pack salto down to the low bar. Wow. This is going to be big if she can stick it. Just a small hop.
If you are just joining us, we have LSU visiting the Alabama Crimson Tide here in women's gymnastics. It's a number 3 versus number 14 matchup. We have just gotten through the first rotation here in Tuscaloosa. Alabama having a little bit of a slow start to their 2025 season. LSU coming off the 2nd highest score for any team in women's collegiate gymnastics last weekend, trying to keep things rolling. Alabama, on the other hand, trying to spring the upset. After one rotation, it is very tight. Alabama started on the vault, and they had some good vaults early in the rotation, Sam.
Corinne Benogan, round off 1.5, stuck her landing. Nicely done for a big score for Alabama on vault. Connor McClain anchoring such beautiful form throughout this routine. Tries to stick it just that hop backwards.
Connor McClain at 9.9. I am John Rothsberger, and of course I am joined by the Olympic silver medalist Sam Pesek. Thanks for joining us. That is rotation number 1, and it is a close rotation. The Crimson Tide just trailed by 0.15 behind the LSU Tigers. Some young fans in the crowd, some young girls being inspired by some young women in this sport of some gymnastics, some great role models. Peered through the big red door there, otherwise we would have shown her to you. The story is the 2021 NCAA vault champion is back, Sam. Injured on vault in the preseason, hurt her elbow, has not done this event all season long, has not done the all-around all season long. She's now up to 3 events, and I think this might be the most anticipated event for fans to see her back on.
Yeah, well, guess who doesn't need any practice competing vault? She's already scored 10 perfect 10s in her career. So if there's someone you want going in, it's Haley Bryant.
And LSU with a 1/10 lead. This is KJ Johnson, and she is a big-time contributor, and she is a fire starter on this event.
Yurchenko layout full. Just one small smidge move of that right foot, I think. But, man, her presence really matters. She just gets so high off the table. Look at this. Straight arms, catapults herself up in the smallest little hop up. That should be a really strong start for LSU on vault.
Coach Jay Clark does talk about how, even though she's the first person up on that event, which has so many good vaulters, her energy and her fire, for lack of a better way to put it, is so important to that LSU team. And that vault, another beautiful one from her. Stuck it last week. I thought she should have got a 9.95 out of 9.95, but got a 9.9. All right, now over to the bars and Alabama. Natalia Paulak, a junior from Melissa, Texas now. They're a 10th behind the Tigers.
Straight up to the high bar. Back down for the bail handstand. Coaches say that they've done really good routines on the bar, but an area of focus for this team has been landings. So it would be really great if they could start off with a stick. Almost. Man, I thought she had it.
Good start from Pavlak there and the Crimson Tide on bars, trying to keep pace with KJ Johnson's 9.825. Again, that scoring tower on the right shows the lineups for each team. The scores populate as the gymnasts go. Top 5 scores count for each team, so they can drop a low score. Here is Chase Brock. She stuck this last week.
Been so consistent with this. Yurchenko 1.5. Couldn't quite hang on to it.
Start your Super Bowl Sunday with 3 great women's basketball matchups. Stanford and Louisville at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific on ESPN2, followed by number 2 South Carolina and number 4 Texas on ESPN. Then at 4 Eastern, 6th-ranked LSU hosts 19th-ranked Tennessee at the Maravich Center in Baton Rouge. Pavlak, a 9.775 in the leadoff. They want to do better than that. Here's Lily Hudson.
Looking for their scores to build. Lily is usually the one for the job. See if she can get this handstand nicely done. She's one of those veterans that's been stepping up this year in a big way, especially with those landings. She just looks so confident when she salutes every time she competes.
Coach Ashley Johnson talks about how she really sets the tone in a lot of ways for this team. Maybe not always the loudest one in the gym, but her gymnastics and her approach and her, they call her predictable, and that is a compliment in gymnastics. It's not like a predictable offense in football. You want to be predictable in gymnastics. You want to know you're always going to get the same thing, and that is what Lily Hudson does. Always delivers. Leah Finnegan now following Chase Brock's 9.775.
Another Yurchenko 1.5. Last weekend they stuck 4 of 6. Not quite as sharp with those landings we're seeing here.
Yeah, they stuck the first 4 right out of the gate. The PMAC was out of control. Felt like it was going to crumble on the first rotation. But a little trouble on those landings here tonight. Not quite as clean. Lily Hudson, a big 9.9 for Alabama on bars.
That's a great step in the right direction for Alabama.
Chloe LaCourcier, we've talked a lot about her and how she's got the talent and the ability to put up 9.9s, and feels like she's going to be someone that could make a big difference for this Crimson Tide team the rest of the way.
Yeah, she started off throughout this season in the leadoff spot, but we're seeing her now in that 3rd spot. Curious if they're testing some things out on bars. Really nice handstand. She's got gorgeous lines throughout this routine, placing her body in the right positions. This is looking really good. Just that dismount to a stick. That is going to build on Lily's score, if you ask me. Best routine that I've seen from Chloe all season.
And what Sam means is she thinks she's going to go higher than a 9.9. You heard it from Peshek.
I think so.
We will see that 9.9 from Lily Hudson, a season high score for her.
Good, clean lines, hitting those handstand positions, and doesn't move her feet on the landing. That's the recipe recipe for a good score.
And this is a bit of an opportunity for the Crimson side, as you see Ashley Johnston there with some words, because LSU not putting up huge numbers, but someone who can go big here is Amari Drayton.
Yurchenko 1.5. She does a really phenomenal job of spotting the ground before she finishes that last half twist. Watch this. Her eyes are spotting the ground right here, then adds one more half twist. Veteran move right there, and certainly going to help her find a controlled landing.
That is a great catch right there, Sam, and a great look at how they spot the landing on what is otherwise a blind landing typically on that 1.5 twist. One thing that judges have really been critical, I feel like, is vault landings.
Yeah.
In the past, where maybe they've taken a 0.5 on a 1/10 hop or a 1/10 on a 2/10 hop, they have, if you're going to open yourself up to deductions, they are going to take it on vault. That's what we've seen so far this season. Well, Chloe LaCourcier, she ties the 9-9. We might get a protest from Sam Pesek, I'm not sure. But two very good scores. Now Gabby Gladio with her opportunity.
She changed her release combination. Coming up right here. Big Jaeger overshoot. Not as clean as I've seen her do it before. A little shuffle with her feet in the overshoot. But way to pick it back up to that vertical handstand. They're 3 for 3 on the landings, which is exactly the area of focus this Alabama team was hoping shows up in the competition. You see her knees are a little bent, had to work that. It's going to be a slight deduction, but does a good job keeping her feet planted.
Caitlin Chio now on vault. Amari Drayton, the first to break a 9-9 for this LSU vault rotation with a 9-9 on the nose. Caitlin Chio's been incredibly consistent on this vault all season. It's either a tiny hop or a stuck landing, it seems like.
And her body position is textbooked in the air, which helps her land. Man, that vault is good.
It's talk about predictable. That is what you're going to see every week. The question is, does she stick it like this or take a tiny hop and this time, boom?
Yeah, but it's the body position in the air. You see when she's twisting, her legs are squeezed the entire time. Very difficult to do that all the way through. It's going to be a huge score for LSU.
Felt like a moment here in this rotation where Alabama, only a 10th behind coming into this rotation, had a chance to not just close the gap, but maybe get the lead. Caitlin Chio, the freshman, Amari Drayton as well, said not so fast. That puts a lot of pressure now on a freshman, Ryan Fuller. Gabby Gladio, just a 9-8. I say just a 9-8 when LSU's putting up 9-9s now late in this vault rotation. You got to go big.
She's such a strong competitor. They're wanting to see her practice show up in the competition. This is looking good. She's really a workaholic, so the work she's done in the gym, they're ready for that confidence right here, and it shows up today.
Had to have that stuck landing. Absolutely needed it. And a freshman. Man, we're seeing some great freshmen. Caitlin Chio for LSU. Ryan Fuller now for Alabama. That was big time.
Yeah, this is a really big moment for Alabama. They're sticking 4 for 4. Good double layout. And just nails that landing. She bends her knees at the right time, absorbing it, and just squeezes her core and doesn't move.
I need to squeeze my core more, I think. Some more core. Oh, here's Haley Bryant, the champ. First time this season, can't quite get the stuck landing.
Yeah, but it is so clean in the air that it looks almost the same every single time she does it.
And it is so big. And when I say big, the air time she gets on this vault, something else. Caitlin Chio's 9.975. That ties the highest score in the NCAA so far this season. No one's gotten that perfect 10 yet.
On vault.
On vault, correct, thank you. Haley Bryant feels like, she sticks that vault. You got a hard
Game
time
over.
you got a hard time not giving her a 10. And no signs of that elbow injury. So back-to-back freshmen here to close things out for Alabama. This is Peyton Walker. Ryan Fuller, a 9.875. Very good, flirting with that 9.9.
Coaches say you're always looking for that wow factor during the recruiting process, and that was Peyton for them. She really has such an aggressiveness to her gymnastics that we're seeing. Very dynamic and quick.
Got to get another stuck landing here.
Looking for 5 for 5. Not quite a stick, but a clean landing. I would consider that controlled as well. Good handstand position. Look how high she gets. A lot of air time. Broke the rhythm just slightly on that if we're being picky. In-bar Ginger is always so impressive to me. That release move at the end of her routine. Just needs to hold that plie, absorb the landing a bit more on the dismount.
So good rotation for Alabama. Early in the rotation, it felt like this is their chance to get that lead, but LSU really came on strong with their last 3 vaulters, all scores of 9.9 plus, ending with that Haley Bryant 9.925. How happy is Coach Jay Clark to see her back in the lineup?
It's just a consistent score for them. It's always going to be above a 9.9, if not a 10 when she competes. And I've been such a fan of her gymnastics since she started at LSU. It's such a privilege to watch her for another year. Yeah, the #1 team in the country on vault. They tied last week when they did it, tied the highest score on that event in the country, and then they add Haley Bryant. So an embarrassment of riches for the LSU Tigers. Walker on bars for Alabama finishes with a 9.8. So the lead expands for the LSU Tigers. Gabby Gladio, she's been sensational for this Crimson Tide team. A lot riding on her shoulders. Guess what? When we come back, we're going to do a little gap. She's also stepped into a new role as one of the highest scorers for Alabama across the board this year. Coaches say she's been so relentless to do everything she can to help the team. And she's not just a great gymnast. She's a great athlete, can play football. I'm told by the coaches she's the #1 spike ball player on the Crimson Tide team, and she is a fierce competitor. She does not like to lose. And we're talking about scores. Let's jump back to that last rotation real quick, Sam, because Peyton Walker's score, there was a judges conference. One judge had a 9.9, the other had a 9.7, so they had to talk about it. What do you think they were talking about? Yeah, I'm curious what they were conferencing over, but my guess is her high to low element. It's called a pack salto. It gets so high, but she almost takes a little bit of time coming down to that kip position. It could be a rhythm deduction. Everything else looked clean here, but I'm wondering if one judge thought there was a rhythm issue and another judge thought there was not a rhythm issue in this routine. So everything else looks cut and dry to me. If the judges are too far apart with their scores, in this case we had a 9.9 and a 9.7, it requires them to come together and talk about it. And you can see down there, you might want to take a screenshot of this if you're at home, because it gets a little bit complicated, but you can tell where they need to have a judges conference depending on how far the spread is of those scores. But as we have it right now, it's LSU with a .275 lead over the home team, the Alabama Crimson Tide, as we head into the 3rd rotation. Still helping out the in Tuscaloosa. Yeah, she was teammates with now head coach Ashley Johnston, and it's always fun to have teammates and athletes that were gymnasts now working in sports, especially at your alma mater. It must be special for the both of them. There is Ashley Johnston. She's got some work cut out for her this season, trying to move that team up from that 14th ranked spot right now. And they've got a little work to do tonight as well. They trail the visiting team, the LSU Tigers, .275.
Ashley Johnston just in her 3rd season here. She's a 10-time All-American as a gymnast. She's part of the 2011 and 12 NCAA championship teams. Certainly a high standard. The bar here at Alabama is set high. You either win or we got work to do, right?
Yeah, but what's interesting is she said coming into season, we knew this was going to be a late blooming team, and that's exactly what we've been seeing from them. New athletes in the lineup, new athletes doing more events as the season progresses, and they are getting better. So head coach Ashley Johnston was correct in her prediction of this team is going to continue to build.
And someone she spoke to us about prior to tonight's competition and how impactful she can be is this gymnast, Rachel Rybicki, leading off the beam.
This leadoff spot is a big moment. Needs a solid hit from Rachel. Easy back handspring layout, nicely done. Their training has been going really well on this event. So just looking to see that confidence in competition. You see her heels right there, completely off the beam and doesn't even wobble. Good job working through the nerves here. Sometimes when you're nervous, you tend to wobble on the choreography and the easy parts of your routine versus the harder skills, but she's smiling through it. The #1 job as a leadoff is just to instill confidence through the rest of the lineup and end with a stick. She got the job done, I'd say.
I don't know why you're nervous with 20 dudes with painted chests behind you on the balance beam.
But look at that. Her heels were totally off the beam, both of them, and doesn't even move her upper body. And then got a little...
We're going to call that choreography, Sam.
Choreography.
Add
A
it
little
on,
wild
circle.
choreography there, but she brought it back.
Do those guys have tickets? I mean, are they here legally? All right, let's go to the floor. Sierra Ballard, and she is absolutely sensational in this leadoff spot on floor exercise. She does this typically in the leadoff spot on beam as well. Great at getting things going here.
Opens with a big double layout. This is an event that LSU has so much depth and also so much confidence. Double pike, has to take a step forward. That's an automatic 1/10 deduction. But other than that, this was a really solid start for LSU on floor. Starts off so strong. Double layout, 2 flips in that straight body position. Does a good job fighting to hang on to that landing.
Chloe LeCourcier now on balance beam.
They focus on how she competes at her best, and what they really learned over the past year plus is that she likes to play gymnastics. She needs to be so loose and so comfortable before she salutes. You see her singing along, and that's actually a good thing for her. Good omen, if you will. She has a notebook out there in competition and likes to doodle She's really good at animals, we found out. I need to see these drawings.
By the way, one of the most terrifying mounts in women's gymnastics is that back handspring onto the beam.
Wobble there. She brought her eyes back to the end of the beam, which helped her find that balance again. Front aerial back handspring. Now her job is to forget about that wobble. You can actually see her breathing and saying her cues, mouthing her cues to herself. Finishing round off 1.5. They're 2 for 2 on those sticks, but who's counting?
You are, Sam, and they needed that one, right? Vicky, a 9-8 in the leadoff spot, slightly better than Sierra Ballard's leadoff score of a 9.775 for LSU. So they got to chip away at that .275 lead that LSU had coming into this rotation, and how they do that is stunt landings like that. Now, this is something a lot of gymnastics fans have been waiting for. It is Kalia Lincoln on the floor exercise, just on vault so far this season. This is her first time on this event.
I'm so excited to see this. She is such a powerful athlete. The goal for her is to find the landings.
Big opening pass.
No problems with that landing. We talk about the embarrassment of riches with some of the talent that LSU has on this team. They took out Chase Brock, who scored a 9.875 last weekend. Most teams would love to get that score. This was a big highlight for me, is that first pass. Sometimes taking out the difficult skills can be tricky for some athletes, but she looks like she's adjusting nicely.
Courtney McCool-Griffith, the primary floor coach for LSU, talked about how she did double layouts in practice the other day and said they were huge, but what was amazing is how quiet she was when she landed. That double layout was certainly something to behold. Here is Gabby Gladney now in the third spot, following LaCoursier's 9.85. It really feels like Alabama is up against the wall here. They have got to start putting up 9.9s or LSU is just going to pull away.
Front aerial broken connection to that split jump. Yeah, this is a really big moment for Alabama to step up on beam.
And if I'm being honest, balance beam has been a little bit of a house of horrors, if you will, for Alabama since the NCAA championships last year when they had 4 falls in one rotation, and they have not been lights out this season either. Had a little bit of trouble, and it's an event they really got to get things going on.
Yeah, but when I watch their athletes, they do a really good job with the skills on the beam. It's just their confidence. They look like they second guess their finishes every once in a while. Gainer full off the side. That's hopefully going to be the score that they are able to drop.
They have 2 scores in the 9.8s so far. Kalia making a 9.875. Now Kaylin Chio, she is one of 4 athletes doing all the events, competing for that all-around title tonight. And she is in the top spot, just a half-tenth ahead of Lily Hudson.
You're not going to want to miss this first pass. It's a full in with no hands. She just floats down to the landing usually. Man, what a good routine. What Kaylin Chio does well as a freshman is minimize every single possible deduction. The way that she absorbs the landing just showcases the fact that the judges can't take a deduction. Check this out. When she lands, she bends her knees, really pausing on the floor to show the control.
Kaylin's just outside the top 25 in the all-around rankings currently. Here is Lily Hudson following Ladany's 9.475. So Sammy mentioned it. They absolutely have to drop that score.
Yeah, but the person you want next in the lineup is Lily Hudson. You know, it's interesting, the last few years, her and Gabby Gladio have always been the athletes setting up the Luisa Blancos of the team, especially on this event. And now they're towards the end of the lineup and a lot more pressure on them to put up those big numbers. Coaches have been really impressed with how they've navigated that move in the lineup. Is looking so solid. Hangs on to the dismount. Curious to see what the the judges are going to do with that slight slide together. Front aerial, back handspring layout. Finishing with a 1.5. It's going to be a good score for Alabama on beam.
Looked like a half-tenth scoot to me, Sam.
Yeah, we'll see.
Amari Drayton now follows Kaylin Chio's 9.9. LSU setting themselves up for 3 big scores here to finish.
What's impressive about LSU on floor is that they're a great floor team, and they also bring the difficulty with every single routine, starting off with that big double layout.
I mean, everyone gets a double layout if you're at LSU. I mean, and not just double layouts, but some of the best ones you will see done by any human.
Strong routine for LSU. Another powerful athlete they have here, but watch the landing. She finishes and just tilts slightly there. Curious to see what the judges are going to do. She can afford to absorb the landing a bit more versus landing with stiff legs.
That was floaty, though. Corinne Benogin now on balance, being Lily Hudson, a much-needed 9.9, and I'll tell you what, they need a couple more of those to finish this rotation. Reminder, you can see the lightly shaded score on the right for Ladany, that 9.475. The lighter shade score means that's currently the lowest score that would be dropped if all other scores are higher than that.
Oh, no. I saw her do such a solid back handspring layout in warm-up. Saves herself a fall, but that is going to be a significant deduction.
Still has to finish clean the rest of the way, because again, 9.475 is a low score. This one still could be higher than that, but you can't let one mistake lead to another. Every 10th matters.
Finishing back handspring, layout full. Good height on that dismount. Man, disappointing routine. I've seen her do such a solid performance here. She bent her arms on that back handspring, which typically sets you up for being crooked on the layout.
What a save, though.
Yeah, I know. Man.
I tell you what, if Alabama can make this close down the stretch, you look at something like that, which I think it still will be higher than a 9.475, which means she saved her team a 10th or two. And that is the type of thing you got to be able to do in a tight meet like this. However, LSU trying to make this meet not close, and they are doing quite a number here on floor. Back-to-back 9.9s, and now you got your veterans, Aaliyah Finnegan and Haley Bryant, to finish out this rotation. Both
athletes who have scored perfect 10s on this event. Weekends ago, she went out of bounds on that pass. Last weekend, she went out of bounds on her other pass. So I'm guessing that's why she under-rotated that first pass.
And that's going to be a pretty significant deduction, that step backwards, and a big step backwards at that. And that's the pass she went out of bounds on last week as well.
Yeah, this is a good time to remind everybody, we're getting to the middle part of the season. They have been competing every single weekend. Aaliyah specifically has been doing all around, so it is extremely tiring to be on the road, to be at your best, do floor routines, and sometimes little oopsies like that show up in the competition when your legs are a bit fatigued. Gave it a little too much juice. You see it in her face right there, man. Just couldn't quite time those tumbling passes correctly tonight.
Aaliyah's the defending NCAA champion on the floor exercise. Now the anchor position, Gabby Gladio follows Benogin's 9.7. 9.7, not a great score, but again, that saved a couple of tenths to that team total.
Big series.
They have to have a hit here, and not just a hit. It's got to be a rock-solid hit.
Jamison Sears told us that Gabby is the most competitive athlete on the team. She hates to lose, so typically that's the personality type you want in this anchor position, because you get angry. You want to do better when there's a lot of pressure on you. And I've seen that from Gabby so far this season.
Yeah, she wobbled last week on her beam routine, came in this week on Monday and told Ashley Johnston, the coach, that I am never wobbling on that again. I'm going to do 20 series today. And Ashley said, let's pump the brakes a little bit. Not quite that many.
Way to finish that routine. It's going to be a good score for Alabama. They needed that crucial position for her. Coaches knew they could rely on her. And when you can get the job done finishing with a round-off double full. Check out when she finishes. It actually could have been a little crooked, but she squeezes every bone in her body to just hang on to every 10th there.
Alabama needed that one, and now it's Haley Bryant's turn. Follows a 9.675 from Aaliyah Finnegan, so a little bit of a pressure set for Bryant here as well.
Opens front handspring, double front, a little short on that rotation, a bit uncharacteristic for Haley Bryant. Important pass for Haley. Needs to do the landing as clean as she can. Good work.
Nicely done. They will drop that 9.675 from Aaliyah Finnegan, but wasn't a perfect routine. She had some deductions there, Sam.
Yeah, she took a step backwards here, which for a front pass, that's a step in the wrong direction and an automatic 1/10 deduction.
If you heard some boos in the background, it was the, I don't know what they call the Red Rangers over there, the painted guys, but they were booing that 9.875 from Gabby Gladio. They did not like it. They wanted something higher, but that is still nonetheless a good finish for them on beam when they were in a situation where they had to have a hit. Chloe LaCourcier getting ready to go over to floor exercise for that final rotation as we wait for Haley Bryant's floor score. That'll determine how much that lead will be for LSU. It will be a lead. You can see their team scores right now on those events. They just competed 49-125. They're tied right now, but when that Haley Bryant score comes up, they will drop that 9.675. That's lightly shaded, and the score will increase by how much Haley Bryant's score is higher than the 9.675. How about that for elementary school math, Sam? You impressed?
I'm following along here, but we can also look at the scores. 9.875. That means they will certainly cross out Aaliyah Finnegan's score.
So there you go. LSU will have the lead, and it's just under 5/10. They got some work to do here in Tuscaloosa. Big Al, you better have some magic in you. You're going to hold off these LSU Tigers. You're watching the SEC on ESPN. Back in Tuscaloosa, the home team's got their work cut out for them because the number 3 team in the country, the LSU Tigers, they came in after that first rotation with a 1/10 lead. It's since grown to just under 5/10. You're wondering how much is 5/10? A fall off an apparatus is a 5/10 deduction. So that is about the cushion that LSU has as they head into the final rotation. But Sam, they go to balance beam. We just saw what happened to Florida when they visited Arkansas. They went to balance beam, their lowest score on that event since 2012. Nothing is a sure thing when you got to go to beam.
Yeah, they're not a bulletproof team. We've seen that already this year. So the goal for them is to stay consistent across all 4 events. Head coach Jay Clark told us that was an area of focus coming into tonight's meet.
But if you want somebody in a leadoff spot, there might not be anybody better in the country on any team in the leadoff spot on beam than Sierra Ballard.
I had a chance to talk to her during warm-ups, and her coach Ashley Nat, a characteristic wobble actually from her. They were talking about her process, her mental process before she salutes, and it is stronger and more consistent than anyone on the team. It is longer than anyone on the teams, but they think that that's what helps her be so consistent in this leadoff position. Looks really off, actually. Good save for her here. You can see her toes. They were totally crooked off the beam. Saves herself a fall. We talk about a long competition season. We're hitting that midway point, and not only physically is that demanding, but it's also demanding mentally as well in key positions like this. Still gets the stuck landing, though. The LSU team is hoping it sparks some momentum on this last event for them.
Yeah, you can see, look at the left part of your screen there. That's Garrett Griffith, one of the coaches of the LSU Tigers. The guys in red apparently kind of taunting Sierra on the balance beam. And I did hear before the meet that the student sections on the end can get a little rowdy. Maybe they're getting a little more rowdy than the LSU coaching staff would like. I did see Garrett Griffith and Jay Clark speak after that beam routine. So a little drama on the sideline. Here's Jamison Sears. Alabama happy to see her back in the lineup as well.
This routine is a really big moment for Alabama to have an athlete like Jamison back in the lineup. Here on this last pass. Want to see a little more control on that, but strong start for the first time out this season. Coaches say that she has really added a new spark to this team this year. You can see her get emotional after that routine. It's really great to see her back out here competing on multiple events.
How about the height on those split leaps? Absolutely amazing. LSU talks about KJ Johnson and what, electricity she brings to that team. I think for Alabama, Jamison Sears does something similar to that lineup. Now a little bit of drama over here for LSU on beam. Sierra Ballard starts with a 9.55 as Kylie Cohen now. Extra pressure on her.
These LSU athletes need to be dialed in for this last rotation. Solid back handspring layout. See her lose her arm position a bit, but brings it back in that split position. Sometimes when the leadoff athlete has a few mistakes, the team likes to have what they call a reset. So Kylie is the reset for LSU because she could not have done that routine any better. finishing round off double full. A little off-centered, but man, she's like a cat. She found that landing, no problem.
I tell you what, the electricity in Coleman Coliseum is getting ratcheted up right now. The crowd for Alabama feels like there is blood in the water, like they've got a chance to bring this back. We got the student section getting the LSU coaching staff angry. Jamison Sears is putting up a 9.875 to lead off floor exercise, and now Shania Adams is on the floor.
Opens double pike. Shania is such a beautiful athlete. What stands out about her is how vertical her upper body is when she lands her leaps, her tumbling passes. Such a graceful gymnast. So many different styles of gymnastics, and even though she is powerful, there's something about her tumbling passes that adds this graceful element to the way she does them. Another routine Alabama is going to be proud of. Look at her upper body when she lands this pass. Totally vertical. Fights to hang on to the control there. Moves right out of that last pass.
Shania Adams, a grad student out of Columbus, Ohio in Buckeye Gymnastics. Kaylin Chio still holding on to that all-around lead over Lily Hudson and Gabby Gladio of Alabama. Leah Finnegan dropping back after that floor routine. Kylie Cohen, a 9.825, needed that. You see that Sierra Ballard score looming, that 9.55. And we do have security in the house. You can see in the background there. Just keeping an eye on that student section, trying to get that home field advantage going a little bit.
Yeah, this is a really good opportunity for freshmen like Kaylin to test their confidence and their ability to stay focused on their routine despite any sort of crowd. Kaylin looks comfortable. She looks confident. Can't shake her. What she does well is her arm positions are always in the correct place on all of her skills. It really helps her balance and have a floaty sense to the way that she lands on beam.
You can see the bottom right of your screen. LSU just with a 1/10 lead right now, but that is because they are counting that Sierra Ballard score. Again, they can drop that low score. So if all other routines are hit routines, that obviously will bump that total up. But if they have another miss, this meet will become virtually a tie.
Finishing back handspring 1.5. These teams are so good at sticking the landing. Something I've noticed across the board is how well these athletes are doing this year. Front aerial into that split jump. You see her arms are completely still throughout that. It's a good thing. And it really helps her have clean landings, stuck landings.
But how about the ice in that freshman's veins? Going up after they've already had a miss. The meet's on the line here in the final rotation. You got the student section getting rowdy, and the freshman goes up and is absolutely lights out. Amazing. Now, Chloe LeCourcier will be the third gymnast to go, and Alabama having themselves a rotation here, a pair of 9.875s to start.
Big double back. Alabama's really improved on those landings on floor. Don't see as many of those as we used to. An area of focus for Alabama is controlled landings, no sliding on the landings. You see that front foot? That's really what the judges have been taking an extra focus to, is how perfect and controlled are those landings.
Caitlin Chio, the freshman, in a big spot, 9.925. Wow. Connor McClain now. One of her 2 events that she is competing after coming back from that Achilles injury. She was on the bars as well, and she is something special on this event.
Big switch leap to a switch half.
The defending SEC champ on the balance beam. Scored a 10.0 twice in her freshman year on this event.
Yeah, get this, Connor and the next 2 athletes have all scored a perfect 10 on this event. Not too bad for your lineup. Noticing a few wobbles, though. Typically, she's really solid. Such beautiful, technically sound gymnastics. LSU is truly lucky to have an athlete like Connor. Finishing gainerful, low chest position there. You see it by her face, it wasn't her best.
On Saturday, tune in to our featured match of Lemson, who are just 1 game behind the Blue Devils atop the ACC standings. Great day of basketball. Rachel Rydicki now follows a 9.825 from Chloe LeCourcier. They've got to keep hitting routines, but they've got to be even better. They've been fantastic, but those 9.8s have got to turn into 9.9s, put some pressure on the Tigers.
Rachel's had a big day, looking to finish up strong here on floor. coach Ashley Johnston said it's so great to have Rachel back in the lineup. She's a key player for them on the floor, and you're really seeing why. She's clean, she's got a great performance, and her routine really elevates all of this Alabama's floor team. Look how strong this landing is. Straight to that lunge position. Finishing combination pass. Working straight out of it.
Hugs for everyone for Alabama, and they should be happy with that rotation. Haley Bryant has mounted the balance beam. Connor McLean only a 9.775, Sam. So a little bit of a break here. Pressure on Bryant and Finnegan to finish.
Great play. Man, veteran move from Haley Bryant, finishing that first skill with all of her toes off the beam, still going for the back handspring because she knows how important that connection is. Last week, she struggled just a little bit. She still got a 9.875, and for Haley Bryant, that's, I guess, what we're calling a struggle. But head coach Jay Clark said it's great to know that our beam can still hit at a high level. They had a season high score on beam last weekend, and Haley can still be off with that happening. So it's a team effort for LSU on beam.
Number 5 team in the country on this event.
And it's because all of those landings have been stuck. They're doing a really good job of minimizing the potential deductions, but watch her toes on this front aerial. They're all off to that right side, and she's really having to work her upper body to continue that movement in order for the judges to count that as a connection.
A very savvy and much needed save for the LSU Tigers. Trying to drop that 9.55 from Sierra Ballard. Rachel Rybicki a 9.875. Lily Hudson. A lot of pressure on her. 9.975 will tie her for the all-around title, as well as Caitlin Chio. Needs a 9.8 or better to give Alabama any chance. Anything lower than that, they cannot catch the Tigers.
And it's certainly looking that it's going to be above a 9.8. This is the best floor routine I've seen from Lily all season. Just as head coach said, she should be incredibly pleased with the job they've done, getting some key players back in the lineups, and of course veterans like Lily Hudson seem to be delivering as expected.
Giving them hope. The Crimson Tide have got a pulse. And all the pressure now shifts over to Aaliyah Finnegan. She answered the pressure at the NCAA championships in this exact role. She clinched the first ever NCAA team title for the Tigers. And now she has a chance to clinch this dual meet here in Tuscaloosa. But she's got to be on, and she's had some issues with wobbles on occasion right here.
Big moment, triple series.
No problem.
Doesn't even wobble. Doesn't even think about wobbling.
Lily Hudson, a 9.9. A 9.7 from Finnegan.
Wobble on the front aerial.
A 9.7. As she's wobbling, a 9.7 will clinch it, but with wobbles like that, you can't do that. Making it interesting.
Well, you see Coach Courtney McCool standing by the stands with the athletes painted in red. It looks like they're heckling a little bit. It's a mental sport already, especially this event. This is always so clean, so beautiful, nice rhythm.
Such a hard series, too.
Yeah, perfectly straight legs, finishes with a good landing.
And that certainly looks like it'll be better than a 9.7. The associate head coach, Courtney McCool-Griffiths, is over there chatting up the guys in red. I'd love to know what she's saying. Gabby Gladio now. We think LSU most likely clinched it, but nonetheless, Gabby's got to deliver here to even have a shot.
Opens, tuck ball in. Great work. We're looking at an athlete that loves to compete, and this is her moment. She's been so consistent with this pass and this routine all season long.
They all want a 10, Sam, and I have a hard time arguing with them on that one. Big time gymnastics here.
I mean, what do you take? Look at this landing. No movement of the feet. And check out Jamison Sears. She's fainting. It's so good. Combination pass. Let's see if there's any deduction. Room for deduction there. I didn't see any.
Sam's got no deduction.
I don't know how much that means this season, but it's going to be a high score regardless.
A 9.975. One judge gave her perfection. But you can see that Aaliyah Finnegan score of a 9.875 clinches it for LSU, but nonetheless, a season-best score for the Alabama Crimson Tide on the shoulders of that Gabby Gladio near-perfect floor routine.
They wanted to come in and take a step in the right direction, and they certainly did that on all 4 events.
Man, LSU, they tried to pull away and make it a runaway meet, but they couldn't do it. Alabama held in there and made it close right up until the end, just over a 2/10 win. We're going to take a deep breath, and we're going to come back and wrap things up from here in Tuscaloosa.